This conference will now be recorded.
So where we stopped in the last session? I think I talked about how to write the implementation, how to import that API to your AnyPoint Studio. Yes, right. And what is this API kit router? How it will check whether the incoming request is a part of this API or not. If at all it is not part of an API, what is the exception it is going to throw?
Yes.
Yes. What is the exception it is going to throw?
Bad request.
No. Method not allowed. No. See, yesterday what we discussed. Forgot. 8082 is the path, I mean the port number which I given yesterday. Purposefully I changed, right? No one remembered the session.
Yes, Sudhit.
I have given 8082 as the path, sorry, port number. And what is the path here? API / star. That means what? / API / any. That means any resource. Customer / customer underscore ID. I'm just giving some value. So if I send this request, who will listen for the request? My listener will listen for the request and will be given to the API kit router. API kit router will do. API kit router will check with the combination get method and this combination, this resource combination. Is there any combination like that? It will check. Where it will check? In the API which I have downloaded. That means imported. Where is that API? Resources you can see. Yes. Now that combination is available. Is that available? Yes, right. Get / customer underscore ID. It will be executed. But here get patch and delete only. If I give a put method, then which exception is going to occur here? Method not allowed. Let me deploy this application. See, I'll assume that I have written the implementation and I'm trying to deploy original application. This is my original application I'm trying to deploy. So hope everyone are up to date till today while practicing. I mean, in the context of practice.
Yes.
If you are up to date, okay, please go through my questions and I mean take some time, 1 week time practice. With after 1 week, straight away go for exam. Don't delay the certification exam because we are humans. It's a tendency to forget the concepts. Again, you need to sit and watch all the videos to get a confidence. So whenever you complete the sessions, I mean today, after that go and practice that 168 questions, straight away write the exam after a week. Okay, that's what I mean, that's what the way we can clear the certification with a 90+%.
Sujit, I'm stuck at creating the root RAML, so I'm getting some errors.
In the root file,
I mean, I have created while importing the examples. So as I said yesterday, so I'm still stuck at that point.
okay, you followed the same steps.
I didn't get you.
Have you followed the same steps?
Yeah, I did. If I don't include the examples in the data type files, I'm not getting any error. But when I'm including that, it's giving me error.
Okay, let me see.
Yeah.
So it is deployed and let me give a request. What is the request? This is the request. This is my original application request. So what is the response I got? Method not allowed. From where? That means at API kit router level, I got an exception for a put method, right? which is not available. So API kit router level namespace is API kit, and what is the value? I mean identifier method not allow. That means such combination is not available in this API, right? If you want to write any other alternate logic, you can edit that and you can write that logic here. Got it? Now I think this is the what anypoint platform architecture we discussed in the starting. Yes. So here, if you can see, have we saw about design center? How to design your API? Yes.
Yes.
Then we publish the API onto the exchange. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Next, we share that API onto the public portal. Yes.
Yes.
And we have written some implementation on Anypoint Studio, right?
Yeah.
And we deploy our application on a mule runtime. That means, of course, I used embedded runtime. Finally, I deployed the application on a mule runtime, right? Right. Then what is the next step? Client can directly, if that URL, if he is having, client can send directly the request to the original application, correct? But I don't want that. What is my requirement? Before the request is coming to my original application, I want to validate the request is coming from the authorized client or not, authentic source or not. How can I do that?
Policies.
But
Proxy.
where you write a policy, where it will be applied. If I write a policies and applied on original implementation, once you hit the request, then only policy will be applied, correct? I don't want that.
Proxy.
So first, I want to create a proxy in between. How to create a proxy? By giving the original implementation URL. I'm asking the API manager to create a proxy. Shall we do that?
Yeah.
So let me open the API manager. API manager is part of Anypoint platform. Let me log out. This is another account actually. I think here is your API, right? Let me go to the API manager. One second, guys. Let me delete the previous versions and all. Yeah. Now once you click on API manager, there is something called manage APIs. So manage API from Exchange, create a new API or import. Right now I want to manage API from Exchange. So just give your API name. What is your API name? B2Q banking API.
Yes.
Automatically it will extract the asset type, asset version and asset name, everything of your B2Q banking API, right? Now already we have a basic endpoint for that application. Right now what to do? I want to create a proxy, and for that proxy I want to give an endpoint, right? And that where you are going to deploy, it's up to you, whether on a cloud hub deployment or a hybrid model, it's up to you. So recently we have seen a cloud hub. Now I will go with the hybrid model. So what is a hybrid model? Yeah, what is a hybrid model?
Combination of the two.
Pardon?
Combination of standalone and cloud hub.
That means we need to register a server with a runtime manager. Yes, all these things we'll see. Now, if you are using Mule 4 or above versions, you need to select this point. And what is the original implementation URL? This is the one. Localhost 8082 is the listener path. Port number I changed for my application. Yes.
Yeah.
Since I have not done, base URI in my application, it is showing like that. You can ignore this one, right? Click on save. So what I'm trying to do, by giving this original implementation URL, I'm asking the API manager to create a proxy, right? Now proxy got created. For that proxy, also we need to give some URL. For this proxy, we need to give URL. That URL will be given to the client, right? So add consumer endpoint. Consumer endpoint means proxy URL. So I'm just giving HTTP localhost 8081. That means I'm mapping this 8082 to 8081 and slash API to slash. Okay, this is the endpoint will be given to the client. Okay, let me take that. I'm going to act as a client right now. And one more thing, did I give a response? Did I get a response here? If I give a get method, what is the response you are going to get? Previously, the example data which I have given, if you write the original implementation, what is the payload at the end, that will be given as a response, right? Now, if the mapping is done with a proxy URL, then also I need to get a same response. If I give this URL, then also I need to get the same response. Customers slash 123. So this is the client URL, right? Because 8081 is mapped to 8082 and slash is mapped to slash API. Then remaining path is same, right? Now, in order to receive this URL, my proxy is also to be deployed, right? So how you can deploy? What is the strategy we selected? Hybrid model, right? First of all, if you want to deploy a hybrid model, we need to have this application. So how to get that application? Proxy API. Proxy is nothing but dummy, but it's an application, right? So how to get that dummy API? Go to the actions, download a proxy. There is an option called download a proxy. I'm just taking on desktop here. It's getting downloaded. Meanwhile, what I can do, we are going to deploy that in a hybrid model. Can you please guide me how to register the server and everything? How to register? What is the first step?
Runtime manager.
Runtime manager. Okay.
Runtime manager, yeah.
Under the runtime manager.
Go for sandbox.
Next. Register the server.
Server, yeah.
Which server? I want this 4.3 server. Let me delete these applications in that. So how to register? We need to go to the bin folder, cd to the directory,
Yeah.
add a server. I'm just giving a
Copy, yeah.
copy command.
Copy, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Just now I think I have done that one. That is the reason. What is the process here? I need to delete the YAML file, right?
Yeah.
Let me do it again. When the server is registered, on that server, I can deploy this jar file. Basically, I'm trying to deploy my application. That means dummy proxy on the application. Okay, that means on the server. So once it is done, what I can do? Created. What is the next step? I need to deploy the application. Okay, first of all, I need to start the runtime. No, go to bin folder.
Yeah.
Once you start the runtime, then yeah, it is deployed. That means status also changed to running. What is the next step? Applications.
Deploy application.
Okay. Now it is getting initialized. It's taking some time for initialization. Deploying Mitiku. Sorry, I written something wrong. Mitiku proxy. At the end, it is getting initialized. Once it is deployed, can I give a request? This request. Once I give this request, what will be the response? This is what will be the response?
Customer's information.
That means whatever I got here, the same response.
Yes.
Yeah.
In my machine, many applications are running. That is why it is a little bit slow. So started application. Can I send the request now?
Yes.
Am I getting a response? Same response? Correct.
Yeah.
But what is the difference? Why we choose this path? Why we created a proxy? If we sending a request to the proxy, okay, proxy is hitting that, and we are sending. I mean, getting the request. I mean, it is hitting internally the original application and giving the response back. What is the change? Apart from additionally added a proxy only, right, in between. He is getting a response, no? Why we created a proxy first of all?
Yeah, you can add policies, you can restrict access at the proxy level.
We need to apply some policies. How to apply how to apply any policy? Where we can apply a policy? Where we can apply a policy? API manager level. So go to the API manager. So this is the one, right? We created a proxy. So let me click on that. Now on the left side we can see some policies tab. Very simple to apply a policy. I will show two policies, okay, how to apply, but you need to have some knowledge on some policies like OAuth, authentication and everything, because you need to have some token which you can generate by using a third-party framework and all. So those are the general concept. How you, I mean, if you have some knowledge how to apply a policy here, very simple. Apply new policy, click on a tab. See, these are the wide variety of policies. Okay, mule supports, right? It's up to you which policy you want based on some, I mean, based on the requirement. So since I have many people from different backgrounds, I want to show the basic simple policy, basic authentication simple. So always any policy will be released with a version, right? So apply this policy. I mean, select that basic authentication simple 1.2.2, right? Configure a policy. And what is the username and password I can give? It's up to you. So right now I want to give is the username, password. Now you can apply this username and password for entire API or else some methods and resources in the API. Okay, totally up to you. Now I'll go with the all. So apply. See, once you click on apply, immediately you should not go and check for that, because it will take at least 30 seconds of time behind the scenes. As I said, one thread will keep on roaming at regular intervals, and the API manager to check whether any new policy is applied. I mean, when a new policy is created in the API manager, once it is created, what it will do, you can see this thread, info thread, applied a policy so and so. That means it will pass and it is applying that policy to the application. Which application? API. Which API? Meterco banking API, right? So can I give a request now? If I give a request, is it going to work? No, because it is denied. How can I get a request? While sending a request as a client, I need to send that request with this authorization. What is authorization? Basic call.
Basic.
So what is the username and password?
Meterco.
Meterco.
Here also Meterco.
Hmm.
Now, am I getting a response?
Yeah.
So, did I validate the incoming request is coming from a valid client or not? Right? At what level? At a proxy level, right? Once it is success, then it is going to the mule runtime behind the scenes, and it is getting an output, right?
Yes.
So
How to
Jeet, I have
delete?
a couple of questions.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is all like the local host, right? So if we have to register, if you have a domain and we're gonna point that F5 domain or maybe the F5 URL to our application, how we can set that up? Let's say
Simple.
real time.
Uh, tell me.
Yeah, like a real time scenario, right? The companies are migrating their like integrating with the mule, right? And when they integrate with the mule, they don't want to change their endpoints. So they behind the scene they create a wrapper or maybe a application, mule application, which internally connect to your old APIs and then return back the same response, but use the same F5 URL. So what would be the like scenario behind the scene? How are we gonna do that?
Same process only, only change of the domain only. Since I'm using local machine, it's local first. What is the domain
Okay.
where the applications are deployed? That domain IP you are going to give. You have seen in the Cloud Hub deployment as well, right? How it is pointing, how it is mapped to that.
So if we give the domain, do we need to just give the domain or all the namespace and all the required details? Where are we gonna
Entire
put that?
domain, right? Entire domain where your application is pointing to. Otherwise, the address will be different, no?
So how my application will know that this domain owned by me?
I didn't, sorry. First of all, I mean, how your application in the sense?
No, when I'm adding the domain URL here, right? So how the
Uh,
application will know this domain owned by me? Like I'm the owner of this domain. It's not that I'm just using any domain and pointing, overriding it.
no. Which application you are pointing to? That API you will be having? Let's see. Okay, in that case, if you are connecting to the third-party application, Amazon application, how you will send that request?
They will provide public URL or
Same
IP.
thing here also. Domain URL should be published.
Okay, I did
Same
not get
concept.
that actually.
Hmm?
I buy a new domain. Let's say I buy a new domain and I want that implementation URL. Oh, no, sorry, the consume endpoint URL should be my new domain. So how I can register that domain in the consumer endpoint? How this application will know this domain is I bought this domain? I can like if
Who should
anybody
know?
can use any domain and put that here, so it won't work, right?
Who should know? Who should know about it?
Your application, like whenever you host your application on-prem or wherever you host it, right?
Okay.
You use
Let
some
me
namespace point.
first the question should be clarified. This is your mule application,
Mhm.
right? Tell me. Now tell me. This is your mule application, okay? Which is
Yes.
running on which domain? Which on-premises or which where? Let's take as an on-premises.
Yeah, on
Which is
premises.
having some IP. Okay, IP1 example. Okay, that is a domain. Next.
Hmm.
Hmm. What is the
Yeah,
next question?
and I added a proxy which is pointing to my application.
Which application? This proxy? This
Yes,
application?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
you created a proxy. Where it is deployed?
Yeah. Now this proxy is pointing to my application, but I want this proxy use this
No.
and
No,
Mhm.
first clarify my question. Where this proxy is deployed?
It's on the cloud.
Okay. Okay, next. When you are
Yeah.
creating a proxy, this
Mhm.
proxy is mapped to this IP, right?
Yes, correct.
And you are giving specific URL for this.
Yes, so that specific URL, for testing or for learning purpose, we use localhost URL, right? I get that.
Of course.
That mule application internally, let's say that mule application internally calling some third party or maybe my own APIs, which I published earlier, but I don't want them to publish now because I want to add a wrapper of mule. And these mule application are pointing to some internal API,
Some
getting
third
response.
party APIs it is
Yeah,
pointing to.
let's say
Okay.
third party L. And let's say that
Okay.
third party API has URL www something dot abc.com and slash
Okay.
some URI.
Okay.
Now what I want, instead of customer directly calling that abc.com, they come
Hmm.
through my proxy, which call our mule application, which is now pointing calling our internal API. So they come through this route. Don't call directly that application, because I want to put one mule wrapper in the between the customer and my API, so I can like whatever action or I want to perform with that. But this is my requirement. So when I use that abc.com slash whatever
You,
URL is,
who are
that
you? Who
comes
are
through the
you?
cloud.
AP, mule developer,
User,
client?
user,
I'm not.
client,
No, no,
client.
no.
Let's say the client.
Client ABC. That means the third party.
Yes.
You are a client or third party client.
Yeah, any user who used to use that abc.com, now they will use the abc.com as is, but
That means you are a
internally
client,
instead. Mm-hmm.
not this one. You are a client, right? The
Yeah.
third part. That
Mm-hmm.
means who is sending a request to get an output from this first, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. This, see, the question is here: how you are going to map this mule application with this domain? That is what your question.
Yes. Yes.
So, what is challenging here? I didn't understand that part. This proxy URL will be created by the developer only who created this proxy, correct? What is that
Mm-hmm.
proxy is pointing to? Of course, in my machine, it's a local host because it is
Mm-hmm.
deploying on my local machine, right? You said that proxy is going to deploy in a cloud. If it is a cloud will be having their own application. That means, sorry, their own URL, the domain.
Mm-hmm.
You are not going to point that URL, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes or no? Star.cloudhub.io application name only will be there. That means proxy name with the cloudhub.io. That is the URL. That will be the URL for if you're deploying on a cloud. If it is an on-premises, instead of localhost, you just give the IP. That means domain name. That should be published to the client. Client will use this request and send the request to the proxy. Proxy will hit the original application. In that, what you write the implementation to hit the original, I mean, whether it is database, whatever the website it is, and it will hit that and will get the data. First of all, this third party application is exposed as a REST or a client, REST or SOAP. Totally depends on that. You will write the implementation logic.
So that abc.com, which was earlier pointing to the third party application, now this abc.com is pointing to my like mule application.
Not pointing in the sense I didn't get that. See, this is the URL
Okay,
for the
when
third party application,
yeah, this is
right?
not a third party. Okay, yeah, you didn't get my question. So I own this application. This third party we are just talking, for example. I own this application. I have an API. I'm a developer. I have an API, traditional API built in any language. And now I want a mule wrapper on top of that. I created a
Hmm.
mule wrapper. Now I want my mule wrapper call my API internally. So when my mule wrapper call my API internally, now I want my client to use the same URL ABC,
Why
which they
you
used
are?
to use for a long time. They come through the mule wrapper, not directly to my application. This is user
This is.
experience, right?
I see. I
Sujat,
understand.
Sujat, actually, what Srikanth is saying is not how things are done. You're right. Actually, what he says is, let's say that abc.com is amazon.com.
Oh,
So in front of amazon.com, he wants to build a MuleSoft proxy, but he wants to expose this MuleSoft proxy as amazon.com. That is not possible because already amazon.com is taken by the DNS. It is used by the actual application. We can't reuse that amazon.com again for MuleSoft
okay.
because
No,
Yes,
once
no.
yes.
the
So you are
DNS is
you
created.
you Yeah, you are almost there. So Amazon.com is owned by third party. I cannot use that domain. That's all right. But ABC.com owned by me. I own this domain, so I can point it anywhere, any application. I can resolve that
Then you
DNS,
have to
right?
change, Srikanth, then you have to change the DNS configuration. That is all you need to do. So you can't use abc.com will have see if you don't have MuleSoft proxy, the DNS server will be configured to your application host. So abc.com will be pointing to your application host. If you have MuleSoft proxy before your application, then DNS server will be pointing to MuleSoft IP address. The abc.com will be pointing to MuleSoft proxy, and
Yeah, that's what I
MuleSoft
wanted
will
to know.
directly call the IP address. We have a backend IP address.
Yes. MuleSoft can directly call internal IP address. So we don't need to resolve that domain because domain we can use only point to one application unless we are using subdomain and adding some iRules. That's all different thing. But when we use that ABC, the ABC gonna come through the Mule proxy and internally Mule application can call that API, which can use only the IP address. We don't need to give the domain name there.
See,
That's what I wanted to know.
in that case, what they will do is they will use two different F5. So there will be something called a DMZ. So for external calls for outside your network, the traffic will come through
Okay,
DMZ
also
system.
Srikanth comes under admin level again.
It's
Okay,
too much of information probably, you
too
know.
much of information about admin level. Okay, that we will discuss that later offline, Srikanth. Okay, it's getting deviated to others as well, right?
Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, you can continue.
Because others also are involved in the session. I mean, they are in the task like where are we, what we are discussing about. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to make them like the confusion at the end, right? So here we are understanding about how to apply a policy and how to delete the policy. See, once you understand the basic concepts, once you are into the organization, then obviously you will swim into that. Since you have an experience, or I mean, you maybe are into too much of this information, right? So definitely it will be clear. I think most of the part will be are cleared by Arvind, I guess, right? Still, if you have anything, we can speak to offline. Is it okay, Srikanth?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. So where I stopped? I lost.
Simple
Yeah,
authentication. You have
I applied a policy, right? So how you will come to know whether it is applied a policy or not? So based on the log information, right? Next, if you want to delete a policy from this UI only, you can do that. Under the actions, there is an option called delete or disable or remove. I mean, edit. You can do anything, right? If you disable or remove, let me remove it. Here also you can see the log will get highlighted. Once the log comes, then only please understand that it is removed. Okay. If you want to apply a new policy, I will show last one more policy. Apply a new policy. So it is here is my requirement. I mean many of the people are aware of who are having a lot of experience. So rate limiting. What is the rate limiting? I'll go with the rate limiting policy. What is the rate limiting policy?
Is that the number of hits allowed?
Exactly. So for my API, I want only 3 requests to be allowed per minute. So I am applying a rate limiting policy here. Number of requests, 3 requests over a time period of 1. We can select from millisecond to a year, right? I'm going with a minute. I can apply for all the methods and resources. Once I apply, if I give a request, how many times will be allowed? Yes. How many times? Just now I told 3 requests, right?
3.
Still it is in basic authentication. It is not unapplied. Now you can see HTTP basic authentication unapplied, right? And one more I'm waiting for rate limiting. So the wrapper
What does it
process.
mean? The basic HTTP basic authentication unapplied.
Just now I told
What
no,
does
I
it
have
mean?
deleted. Who is asking this question?
Yeah,
Is it
Shrikant.
Srikant? Basic authentication unapplied. Now I deleted that policy, no?
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't see that. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Applied a policy rate limiting. Okay. Which version I selected? The latest version, and it is applied on an API. Mituku banking API. Right. Now can I send a request? 1, 2, 3. What has been exceeded? So my policy is applied.
Maximum.
Applied.
Yes.
Right. What I can do? I can remove. Can I remove? Yes. If I remove again,
Yes.
you need to see that same log again. Right? Instead of basic authentication, it will be a rate limiting policy. Right? This is how you can apply a policies in the API manager on a proxy. Got it?
Yeah, got it. Maybe a dumb question, but can we apply? Is there any limit of the policies? How many we can apply, or as many of policies we can apply?
No. We can apply n number of policies as you want.
Okay. Thank you.
But it is not to correlate. It should be different policies.
Right.
But we can apply multiple policies. Okay.
Okay.
And Sushmita, you have a question, right?
Yeah, I'm getting errors.
Yes,
Okay.
I have given a presenter access to you. So my friends, guys, you need to help her out.
So let me go to my root file.
Mm-hmm.
This is my root file, and I'll show you the errors here. So these errors I'm getting when I'm including examples in the data type files.
Required property account balance should have property account. Okay, it is not referred only. That means.
Yeah. Can I
Okay.
open this?
Can you please? Okay, where you are referring all these? You created your own example file for that?
No, whatever you have given, I have copied them. And here under this examples folder, and I took path like copy path.
Okay.
Kept it here.
Where it is not giving IBAN number and all, where it is throwing an error? Can you please show me it again? From starting. Why it is not reading? 11th line, account balance. Can you please do it for me again?
So
Include it
you want
again.
me to? No, you want me to
Remove that
delete these examples?
No. Go to that customer.raml first.
Okay.
Okay. Remove all these three. I mean, remove that examples in the 3 customer account and transaction. Since maybe small syntax errors may be there. Account. Otherwise, wait, Sushmita. Okay, I will come back to you. Meanwhile, remaining guys also are waiting, right? So
Okay.
I will tell what to proceed and all. I will stop the recording here.